Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who the Hell Asked. I am your host, Slade, and alongside with me, I have Byron here as
Hey.
usual. What's going on, Byron?
Not much. We got ourselves yet again another grab bag of gaming news because a lot of smaller stories happen with one or two bigger stories happening throughout the week. So Slade, let's talk about EA, shall we? It's been a while, right?
Yeah, so EA has dropped a new form of loot box in their game Skate. It's a beta. It's in beta right now.
So
Called Swag
yeah,
Bags.
so playtesters who have been playing the latest playtest of Skate, and if for those who don't know, EA announced Skate's coming back as like I think free to play like Skate game for the new age, which is cool for Skate fans. But yeah, these playtesters have shared information with the site Insider Gaming on the controversial loot box system that leaked via data mines in the summer of 2022. Originally called Swag Bags. What a name, by the way. Swag Bags.
Yeah, that's definitely their attempt to reskin loot boxes and make them more, I guess, make it sound more appealing to the general populace. It's terrible.
Yeah, the loot box feature was met with harsh criticism from fans, but as far as we can tell, they might not be as bad as first feared. First, it should be understood Skate will be free to play. Here's how the current loot box system looks currently. The only way to unlock loot boxes in Skate is by using a currency called stars, which are unlocked by completing challenges. The harder the challenge, the more stars. Previous data mines suggested you'll be able to use another in-game currency called taps to exchange for stars if needed, but such an option isn't available in the current round of playtesting. Taps are earned through tricks, general play, increasing reputation level, the game's leveling system. The consensus among playtesters is that taps or another form of currency will eventually be made purchasable with real-world money. The loot boxes are currently priced between 2 and 3 stars, with 3-star loot boxes having the more desired items. And the items range from skateboard stickers and clothings to house furnitures. Each loot box contains 5 individual items, all of which you can see before purchasing, but you will only receive one of these 5 items when unlocking a loot box. There's currently no percentage odds of which item you'll receive, and you can unlock duplicate items. Duplicated items will reward the player with hype instead, which is another form of currency, similar to Apex Legends crafting battles. Now, have you played Apex Legends, Slade, at all? Or know anybody that has?
No, I have not.
There are currently 16 loot boxes in Skate with 5 items in each. Presumably more boxes at the moment. Argued, but yeah. Following a report, EA, following this report, Slade, EA has assured fans that Skate will have no paid loot boxes, likely suggesting the game will turn into as I fucking predicted on the first episode of the year, it'll be fucking the pass system.
Yep. Because everybody's going to have their own battle pass.
This
nowadays.
is going to be called either the Skate Pass or the Grind Pass, which, honestly, Grind Pass would be a great name, because that's probably what you're going to have to do, figuratively and literally, of course.
Ridiculous amount of grinding and playing.
Of course, but yeah. Or seasonal pass system / direct purchases for monetization, which I believe, like, Fortnite, you can do direct purchases, right?
Yeah, you can directly purchase levels on the Battle Pass in Fortnite.
Can you directly purchase items in Fortnite? Or whatever?
Yes, but they're not items that are available in the Battle Pass. The way they do it is the Battle Pass itself are limited items, meaning they will only appear on that Battle Pass and then straight up never again once the Battle Pass expires. And then the store where you can buy items directly is just a rotation of the same items and that they add to it. So shit like the Dragon Ball Z skins and whatnot.
Okay, is that generally
More the store?
All right, but yeah. So, it's still not great that there's a loot box system of any kind, but it seems like it's gonna be the direct the Fortnite style as I'm calling it. The I'm gonna call it the grind pass until it gets officially named, because that just sounds funny to me. Both the skate term grind and the grind you're gonna have to fucking do to unlock everything.
You have to play 1,000 hours just to get 10 levels or some shit. Yeah.
But yeah, the Fortnite model with the grind pass and the direct purchases. At least the loot boxes aren't going to be paid. That's the best thing I can say about that.
Yeah, so overall, as long as the loot boxes, I guess, don't involve monetization whatsoever, which, again, the taps currency eventually being able to be buyable with real money will eventually disprove.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if
thing.
it is actually, like, if you can buy that currency. But
if you can't, then that would be fantastic, because, again, loot boxes are extremely predatory. It doesn't matter how much they try to reskin them or rebrand them or whatever. It's still fucking horde gambling. So
but we'll keep y'all updated on this. And Slade, speaking of updates, this update's interesting. So TLDR, Justin Roiland, the I think co-creator, he's the co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, he's also the voice actor for both Rick and Morty as well.
And so his game studio, Squanch Games, has said that Justin Roiland has resigned from the team for obvious reasons why he resigned. I don't know how to properly say it without potential demonetization or anything like that, but he let's just say he did some bad stuff to his significant other. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the nicest way I could say it.
Yeah, just a bit of, I don't even care if we get demonetized for a small channel. Just domestic violence is absolutely fucking important.
I tried to be cutesy with it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I will drop it as it is, and it's pretty fucking terrible.
It's absolutely terrible. Rick and Morty, he was forced to leave that show, both as like a creator and voice actor, and now he has resigned from Squanch Games, makers of High on Life.
High on Life, yep. So, long story short, good riddance. High on Life wasn't that good anyway. I don't care what anybody says, it's not that funny. And let's move on to the next tidbit of news, because I feel like we've already dedicated too much time to the serial abusers.
Xbox had its developer direct. It was okay. It's a fine format in addition to a Nintendo Direct style presentation, which I think Xbox still needs to do more than, like, maybe one of them a year. But a game shadow dropped at that presentation from Tango Gameworks, the creators of Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. It's a action platformer all new action rhythm game, Hi-Fi Rush, and it has been getting absolute rave reviews.
Yeah, so for what I've looked into, because I also have it pulled up on like Metacritic and whatnot too. It's got a score of 88 on Metacritic and then a user score of 9.2. It seems to be universally loved by damn near everybody who plays it. With its, it's a rhythm game, but it's also a hack and slash action game. So like people who love stuff like Jet Set Radio or Devil May Cry and like stuff like that are absolutely going to adore this game.
So you're,
it seems to be.
So you're gonna enjoy this game.
Yes, I'm actually thinking about giving it a go because it's also on PC.
It is available on Xbox, like digital purchase, Game Pass, and it's also available on PC via Steam, where it is sold really damn well.
Yeah, so long story short, it seems like this game is pretty fantastic. They shadow dropped it at the Xbox presentation, like Byron stated. if this is what we have to look forward to from Xbox presentations, then I guess you'll find who the hell asked tuning into
Yeah,
a
because
lot
I
more of
tuned
them.
in.
Because,
I watched this one, I think, a day afterwards. And it was a fine enough presentation. We still don't have a release date for Forza Motorsport, which is concerning. But yeah. Also, how weird is it when you think Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo? I don't think you would think highly stylized action rhythm game.
yeah, so I think this is the mark of like a really good team and whatnot in terms of like developers talent and whatnot when they're able to expand just past their
typical
original genre, and then they're able to make different styles of games and really push like their limits. Tango Gameworks seems like a company we're gonna have to keep our eyes on because they seem to definitely have a lot of remarkable talent.
Hey, that Bethesda acquisition coming through again for Xbox.
Oh yeah, and then this potential game of the year candidate.
You know what? It's
out
possible. Maybe this. When I did the predictions earlier this year for like, what the 5 games, it was pretty obvious what like the 5 of the 6 games would probably be. Maybe this one will be game number 6.
Yeah, or maybe one of those games will drop because it won't live up to its expectations. I mean, a lot of things are possible here.
I doubt it, considering the pedigree of games this year. But
considering this year overall, this is a fantastic start to the year overall for games. So definitely looking forward to giving this a shot.
And speaking of shooting things, lovely transition. So we got announced via, I think Nintendo first announced it, but I have the Rare tweet pulled up from the day of it. Goldeneye 007 was the next game to come to Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, so Goldeneye released simultaneously both on Nintendo Switch Online as well as Xbox Game Pass.
If you own Rare Replay, the digital version only, by the way, that's a funny caveat that MVG Modern Vintage Gamer on Twitter, I don't have the tweet pulled up at the moment, but he added Rare, and Rare was like, it's only available if you for Rare Replay if you have the digital version of Rare Replay. But it is also available on Game Pass, and of course, Nintendo Switch Online. And it's been very funny. A tale of two sides. On the Xbox side, obviously, graphics look great. It's not 60 FPS like people were hoping because of emulation stuff. Emulation gets wacky and stuff. But the two major issues people have with the Xbox version, one, the no online, which it sucks, but it's like, well, what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, which is actually kind of crazy that like Nintendo has the online
and
whatnot.
Well, their online play is via NSO, which I have not tested with this game, but we'll get to the Switch's own issues. But the other big issue people have been finding with GoldenEye 007 is that it has frame pacing issues, which isn't exactly great for a shooter game.
No, I would argue that that's kind of a killer. When it comes to games, that's like one of those things where the game's basically unplayable. So, yeah, frame pacing issues is pretty unfortunate. And then
the Switch.
Unfortunately, it's not like our Switch fans here.
No,
have it much
because
better,
the biggest issue people have had with the Switch version are the controls. If you don't have that NSO N64 controller, which is a fucking unicorn to find these days, you're paying either double on eBay, or you're waiting for the very rare drops that Nintendo gives for that controller. And that's primarily the biggest issue people have had. I haven't heard much of anything on how the online performance is. And I know some people wanted better graphics, but it's the NSO versions. You're going to get slightly upscaled graphics, unlike the Xbox version. But Yeah, it's a tale of like two separate versions with separate issues, and if you combine the best features of both versions, you have a great game. You have a great release, I mean.
Yeah, so pretty unfortunate that a game with a great legacy like Goldeneye kind of releases in this state, but yeah, just modern day video gaming, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess the one good thing is it's at least available for now.
It's available. Imagine being like calling that praise. All right, moving on to our next tidbit of news. Washington Post Sunset Launcher gaming news.
So, yet again, in the gaming news side, more layoffs. But yeah, Washington Post is sunsetting Launcher, its online gaming vertical. Yeah, it wasn't really ever marketed well. Because, like, I had never heard of Launcher until literally looking this up and seeing people talk about, oh yeah, people got fired because of it. And it's like,
I'm going to be honest with you, I have literally never heard of this.
You know what? Literally same. But it sucks to A, lose an outlet, and
yeah, and then B, 50 positions laid off.
Even if not all of them
unfortunate.
are in Launcher, which I don't believe all of them are, but some of them definitely are. It absolutely sucks.
Yeah, well, you know, we're in the sphere of covering these kind of news, so we just want to make sure to protect you guys.
It always sucks.
Yeah, this is pretty
hopefully
unfortunate.
Some of these other websites that are still around pick up some of these people over at Launcher. Hope they all land on their feet. Whether some of them team up to make their own publication or go to some of the other gaming publications that are still around that hopefully aren't on death's bed. like some of the other stuff we're covered. But yeah, sucks to hear. Pour one out for Launcher and hope everybody there lands on their feet. And speaking of landing on your feet, or in this case, landing on your ass. This again! Dungeons and Dragons, we're back at it again, because guess what? For now, the fans won. For now, the Dungeons and Dragons community won, because Wizards of the Coast are reversing their license back to what it was beforehand. It's a small W. It's a W, but it's a small one because, you know, you think people are still going to trust Wizards of the Coast even if they reversed their decision? No.
I'd say this is going to be something that, like, people are going to have to actively keep an eye and watch because they've opened Pandora's box, and while they're shutting it for now, that doesn't mean that opening it back in the future is not on the table.
Yeah, apparently they had a survey of more than 15,000 people, which is, it's not a small number, I would say. 88% do not want to publish tabletop RPG content under OGL 1.2. 90% would have to change some aspect of their business to accommodate OGL 1.2, which is a very large number. 89% are dissatisfied with deauthorizing OGL 1.0a. 86% are dissatisfied with the drafting VTT policy, and 62% are satisfied with including SRD content in Creative Commons. So yeah, so what are they doing? OGL 1.0a will remain untouched, the original open game license. And they're making the entire SRD 5.1 available under a Creative Commons license. Now, is that going to stop, like, Paizo and other companies from making their own open gaming licenses? Fuck no! Yeah, because, like, it's already been shown. Like, and I know they want D&D 1 Beyond, their like, subscription service for tabletop gaming, which, that's a fucking wild thing to even say. That's a wild sentence for me to have said. That's a sentence I never thought I would be saying in the modern day. But I just said it twice. But yeah, there's your update on good old Dungeons and Dragons. The fans won, the creators won, for now. Eyes in the back.
For now.
And our final story, Slade.
And possibly the biggest story of the week.
Well, biggest outside of the launch of Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, that's true. Outside of like the actual launch of the game. So, Blizzard manager departs in protest of the employee ranking system. So, a lead at Blizzard Entertainment said he was ousted after refusing to give a low evaluation to an employee that he felt didn't deserve it in order to fill a quota. This made the rounds towards the beginning of the week. This was pretty crazy news where we learned that Blizzard Entertainment had an internal ranking system of their employees that are seems to be a pretty predatory practice overall.
Let me read this detail. Managers were expected to give a poor, quote, developing, unquote, status to roughly 5% of employees on their teams, which would lower their profit-sharing bonus money and could hamper them from receiving raises or promotions in the near future at the Irvine, California-based company known for games like Overwatch and World of Warcraft. Yikes!
Yeah, they call this stack ranking. So, to make this a long story short, this is absolutely fucking... This is like nightmare fuel, kind of like terrible. Because...
So, who's the dude who left? Brian Birmingham. He was the co-lead developer on WoW Classic. Wrote an email to staff last week expressing his frustrations. He wrote that he and other managers on the World of Warcraft team had been able to circumvent or skip filling the quota for the last 2 years, and that he believed the mandate had been dropped or wasn't strictly enforced. But recently, Birmingham said he was forced to lower an employee from the average successful rating to developing in order to hit the quota. And as you were saying, Slade, before I rudely cut you off, nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
Yeah, so when team leads asked why we had to do this, World of Warcraft directors explained that while they did not agree, the reasons given by executive leadership was that it was important to squeeze the bottom-most performers as a way to make sure everybody continues to grow. That's a bunch of PR speak for, we want to pay a lot of people less money, so we need some sort of written excuse that makes us look good while doing it.
Birmingham wrote in the email, which was reviewed by Bloomberg, this sort of policy encourages competition between employees, sabotage of one another's work, a desire for people to find low-performing teams that they can be the best-performing worker on, and ultimately erodes trust and destroys creativity. Wow.
Yeah, so he wrote in his post that he refused to work at Blizzard until the company removed the stack ranking policy. If this policy can be reversed, perhaps my Blizzard could still be saved. And if so, I would love to continue working there. If this policy cannot be reversed, then the Blizzard Entertainment I want to work for doesn't exist anymore. And I will have to find somewhere else to work.
If you don't know what the fuck stack ranking is, this lovely article, which I will read out real quick, gives the definition for it. Stack ranking, which first gained widespread popularity after it was brought to GE, General Electric, by then-Chief CEO Jack Welch in the 80s, is used at several tech companies, including Amazon. The process, often criticized for pitting employees against one another and for facilitating toxic environments, has become less popular over the decade. Microsoft Corp, which plans to acquire Activision Blizzard for $69 billion pending regulatory review, put an end to its own stack ranking program in 2013. Which, good thing. Hopefully, if Microsoft does acquire Activision Blizzard, it kiboshes that as well, but yeah, and then Mr. Birmingham took to Twitter. And that, yeah, he basically confirmed he's no longer an employee, confirmed that he left because of the stacked ranking system, gave his own story, and all of that stuff. And was talking about the first year they were asked to meet quota was during in 2020, across winter of 2020, 2021. And, yeah. It's quite the thread, I would say, Slade.
Yeah, definitely share the link to the thread so that our viewers can see it, because there's a lot of very interesting stuff that is included with this thread, such as like the directive came from above Mike Barnes, so this is purely from down from the executive team themselves. They also talked about a lot of the differences that changed between the change from Bobby Kotick, the new CEO of Activision Blizzard and whatnot. And then, long story short, he goes into a lot of detail about the entire process and how toxic it is. So definitely look into the thread, because there's
the link to that and all the other sources for today's news stories will be linked down in the description below. And while you're down there, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, and you can find links to where we are at down below there as well. But, yeah, so, that was the news grab bag for this week.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for Hi-Fi Rush, because otherwise this week was just, I'm losing more faith in this industry.
The OGL got reversed for now, but...
Oh, true. That's also good news.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that.
But yeah, and this has been Byron. We will see you all next week once again with the gaming news. Have a good day and or night, everybody.